According to the St. Louis Crisis Nursery official website, copyrighted in 2016, since 2014, there's been a 10% increase in reported child abuse cases. In Missouri, that means that there are 187 cases of child abuse reported daily. Child abuse has become a very serious and common issue. It's always been serious and common, but just recently we've found it very important to shed light on your options if you are faced with this tragedy ever, and exactly what to do. By the end of this presentation, I hope to have shed that light and also let you know about the St. Louis Crisis Nursery, what they do, and why they need your help right now. To begin, parenting is hard. It all kind of stems from that. Whether you're a parent or you're not a parent, you've been parented and you've seen parenting, and you know that it's not easy. Sharon Purnell once said on an archive titled "Parenting Isn't Easy," published in 2012, "Parenting is not easy. In fact, it is extremely hard. Some days you may feel as though you're going completely crazy, but it gets easier in time. Kids grow, they change, and become just a tiny bit more independent each day. Be loving, patient, forgiving, and most importantly, just hang in there." That quote kind of says it all. All you can really do is hang in there. But it also shows you how hard it really is. You need to be patient, but you also don't want your children to be able to walk all over you. You need to be forgiving, but you also need to teach your children right from wrong. So it gets really hard to determine, am I being a bad mother, or are my children learning everything they need to be? And that's where the difficulty comes into it. I once babysat for a family who, they had 4 children. They're all really close in age, so you know how that bickering starts all the time. And the mom had come home from work, and she was just exhausted. She was stressed out. She had a bad day at work, and anything that could have gone wrong in her day had already gone bad. And the last thing she needed was to come home to 4 children who were just nagging her and jumping all over her. And I could see it in her eyes, and when she walked in that door, she was in no position to take care of 4 children right then and there. So I let her leave, and she come back thinking that she was a terrible mother. And it came down to it, it was nothing like that. It was the fact that sometimes you just can't parent the way you want to. And there needs to be outlets, such as the St. Louis Crisis Nursery, for when ideas like that do come across. If I wouldn't have been there, she would have had to dealt with it herself, and we would have never known what had happened. There's more to it than just that, though. Unplanned pregnancies, say you weren't ready to have a child, and now you're thrown into this situation, and what do parents do? Where do they turn? They have nowhere to go, essentially. But also, other than that, there's insufficient funds, maybe. You might not be able to support your child, and you know what I mean? Food, drinks, everything that is so important. And if you're not able to do it, that puts you in a tough situation. Sometimes it's not even because of the child that abuse may happen. There's so many aspects in life that play this role. You could have a bad day at work, like the family I was babysitting for. You could have had a fight with your significant other. You could just be so extremely stressed out and overwhelmed that you just can't do it, and that's okay. That is why there is a St. Louis Crisis Nursery. Nationally, 129 children are abused per hour. That means by the end of this 7-minute speech, 15 children would have been a victim of child abuse. That is the number one reason why I am so happy to be shedding light on this topic. We need the St. Louis Crisis Nursery because it prevents that situation from happening in the first place. If I could let just some of you know about the St. Louis Crisis Nursery, and I had saved 15 people or innocent children within this speech, I would feel accomplished. It's a safe haven, the St. Louis Crisis Nursery. Without it, what would we do? So now that I've mentioned the St. Louis Crisis Nursery, do you have an idea? They help with child abuse, but let me tell you exactly what it is. The St. Louis Crisis Nursery is committed to the prevention of child abuse and neglect and provides emergency intervention, respite care, and support to families in crisis. They do this by providing short-term care for children in a safe and nurturing environment, ages birth through 12 years old. They help families resolve crises. They offer resources for empowerment, ongoing support, and parental education. and they are also an advocate for children and families. Essentially, to make that a little more clear, what they do is parents voluntarily drop their children off at the St. Louis Crisis Nursery site, and children are usually there anywhere from 2 to 3 days. And during these times, children receive a medical exam, developmental assessment, therapeutic activities, and most importantly, 3 balanced meals and snacks per day. Honestly, it's just a separation between parent and child until that parent has calmed down, whatever they have gotten over, that gives them time. There's more than just child abuse, though, that the St. Louis Crisis Nursery works with. There are a variety of reasons that children can visit the nursery, including overwhelming stress. There could be a death or someone sick in the family, and you may not want your child in that environment. There could be a lack of utilities or food and shelter. If you have nowhere to go with your child, the St. Louis Crisis Nursery is obviously a place that can take them in for the time being. Or domestic violence. If you or your significant other or somebody living in your home is going through a rough time and you just need your child out of the situation, they are the safe haven for that. Although the nursery is only for children, parents receive counseling and there's a 24-hour helpline, so that is always there for you as well. I was lucky enough to speak with the volunteer coordinator of the St. Louis Crisis Nursery. Her name was Ann Dockery. I asked her what the most rewarding part of working with the nursery was, and she replied that she gets the question all the time, but she thinks that it changes every time somebody asks her. She says when she first started working for the nursery, she had a 3-year-old that was dropped off by her mother due to, I believe it was domestic violence that her family was growing through. And she stayed for about 3 days, and in 3 short days, Anne was able to determine that this little girl was smart, she was funny, and all she wanted was to be loved. And after that, as Anne spoke with her mother, she realized that although she needed a place like the nursery, that didn't make her a bad mother. Sometimes parents need help, and that's okay. That is what Anne says she loves about this place. It's a safe place, and I like to think that just for a couple days, the children we see are happy and are reminded of how much they are loved and wanted. After hearing Ms. Dockery's input and realizing how much of an impact the St. Louis Crisis Nursery has on families, I'd like to look and show you how successful they've been for the past 30 years. So in 1986 is when the Crisis Nursery opened. There was only 1 location, and they were able to reach out to 274 children. Today, there's 5 locations, and they're able to admit 6,800 children per year. And then also, just within the next year, they are expanding to a Wentzville location. Just me telling you that right there shows that it works. It shows you that the Crisis Nursery is somewhere they can go. Parents trust it, and it's a safe haven, literally. So let's talk about, lastly, how you can help the thousands of children that are in the St. Louis Crisis Nursery. It's very easy. There's 3 ways to donate. I'd like to show you how you can do this. So this is the St. Louis Crisis Nursery. There's 3 ways. It's online. You can contact them by phone and donate, and also through the mail. So online, there's that link there, right there for you. And then also, if you were to call, it'd be Karen Skusel, and there's her number. And then if you want to mail it, your donation, it goes to the St. Louis Crisis Nursery right there at the bottom. So then just a little more about that if you were to donate. A gift of $10 provides hat, gloves, scarf, socks, underwear to one of the 7,500 nursery children. $15 provides diapers for an infant or toddler. And $30 will provide diapers, wipes, formula to one hungry infant for 14 days. So $13 or $30, 14 days, it's quite a miracle. So I'd like for you to please keep the St. Louis Crisis Nursery in mind. They need your help. Child abuse is a very real thing, and it needs to be stopped. And the St. Louis Crisis Nursery is a safe haven for those children so that they can feel safe and loved just like every other child. Always remember, saving babies' lives, keeping kids safe, and building strong families.